Did you know there's 1.5 billion Google Sheets users? And did you know that billionaires also use Google Sheets? All right, we'll get back to you, Jack, in a second. But check out this sheet. There's a bunch of billionaires in this sheet. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. Yuri Minor, he used a secret spreadsheet to make $1 billion, basically in 2011. There's billionaires who also keep spreadsheets of women. We'll skip that one. But also, Jack Dorsey gave $1 billion in a spreadsheet. So there's a lot of billionaires working in Google Sheets, some bad, some good, and some more good than others. Jack said literally he's moving $1 billion of his Square equity, about 28% of his wealth at that time. And this was only in like 2020. This was only like in 2020. And it's codenamed Start Small. I don't think $1 billion is small, but let's look at it, right? Let's take a look at this $1 billion Google Sheet. And here it is. This is it. Can you imagine? $1 billion, and this is how you use Google Sheets? You literally are just listing off every single thing that the money is going to. The organization is literally saying, okay, we have $1 billion. They had $1 billion to disperse, and in the last 2 years, they've dispersed almost $500 million. But here's how much is still remaining: is $1.5 billion. So not only did they put $1 billion into reserve, but it doubled since then. And so they haven't even given $1 billion yet. And the total value created so far is $2 billion. But like, also this $1 billion in a Google Sheet is pretty much how normal people use Google Sheets. Here's a list of all of the items listed, committed number of shares currently in the LLC, current value, current Square price, then number of shares transferred, number of shares sold, the cash value created remaining. The remaining value is just B9 times B4, which is just the Square price times the number remaining. That's it. And then just total dispersed is donations B2, which is on this sheet, B2 here. And total remaining, which is just 4 things, B3 plus B10. It's this one plus this one. Then it's added to it is B8 minus B12, which is the total dispersed. So it's cash value created minus the dispersed, and that gets you the total remaining. That's it. That's a pretty simple sheet, but can we make this better? Is it possible? Here's all of the things that they have added to, right? Added value to in the last 2 years. Originally, it was meant for COVID relief. And then very much publicly, he said, like, after we disarm the pandemic, I mean, it's 2022 now, and the pandemic sort of still going on, depending on who you're asking. But the focus will shift to girls' health and education in UBI. After this pandemic, it says the focus will shift to girls' health and education in UBI. Has it? Well, we can tell right here. We can go to the top of this list. My God, there's been 291 grantees. Here is the date of the last one was July 25th. It's August now. So this is pretty recent. Girls Garage. Here's Eco Village for Children and Women of Costa Rica. There's a scholarship fund, theater fund, Resolve to Save Lives, Friends of the Children. Pretty much it's lived up to literally this one tweet in April 8th, 2020. $1 billion has turned into $2 billion, and we know exactly where it's gone. Isn't that cool? Well, let's do a couple things to maybe get more information out of this, right? Let's just file, make a copy. So all we're going to do is just go up to file, make a copy. We're just going to make a copy in our own drive, this is pretty cool. We can copy $1 billion Google Sheet. Now we have the total value created, the total dispersed, total remaining. Those are all very simple things, right? But let's look at this. Let's see how many grantees there are. So let's do a total count. Total grantees equals, let's do count all, C6 to C. There, 291. We can double check that, right? 291. Let's see the average grant. How are we going to do that? Well, we'll just do average of B6 to B. The average is $1.7 million. Wow. Let's see average grant per month, which is just going to be the total, right? Total B6 to divided by how many months has it been? So it's been since April 8th, 2020. So we can do something like today minus the date of 2020 month 4 is April 8th. And I think that's it. 582,000 per month. Oh no, that's per day. Oh my, that is per day because we're doing sum of B6 divided by, or to B divided by, we need to do this divided by 30, right? No, times 30. Wow, so $17 million per month is being granted. Yeah, which is going to be pretty close to exact. Yeah, it's going to be this total dispersed divided by 28 months since then. So yeah, it's going to be either this or very, very. Let's see if the median is the same as the average or if there's outliers, right? So we just do median of B6 to B, 500K. Wow, so actually lower than the average. So there are a few high grants, right? Let's see what is the highest grant and what's the lowest grant, right? Let's see max, min. So we're just going to use equals max. B8 now. The max is 25 million. Min lowest is $6,000. So let's see who got those, right? So we can do like an index match to find that, right? Index of, we want C to C. We want to match E6. No, E5 in B column. Okay, there we go. Resolve to save lives. Let's see if that's correct. Let's see if we got the right one. Resolve to save lives is 25 million, yeah. And the 6,000 is Oakland Art Murmur. Let's see if that is exactly 6,000. Yep, there we go. So here we got the top one, the grantee, the minimum grantee, got the median, we got the average grant. Pretty cool. We can do all of this in Google Sheets. Now, do we want to see if it actually was to fund global COVID relief and then shifted to girls' health education UBI? What we could do is we could just categorize each of these, right? We could create a category here. We can do right click, view more cell actions, data validation. We can do a list of items, right? We can do girls health and education. We can do comma UBI, comma COVID. We can always add things to this later. If we do want to add things to this later, then we can even just create another, let's cancel that. Let's create category lists. Girls health education, UBI, COVID. I did notice there was like a water one, so let's look at that. Let's see. Now we can do right click, view more cell actions, data validation, list from a range is just going to be category, exclamation point A to A. Now save that, copy it all the way down, and now as we read these, we can categorize them. Eco Village, socioeconomic, Waco Theater. We can categorize each of these. Central Kitchen, humanitarian, medical. I think down here at the bottom, it originally was, right? COVID. So we can just write COVID, and we can see which ones have COVID, right? By just searching for it. Sanitization. We can just write COVID next to each one. It's probably going to be health, sanitation efforts, COVID, economically vulnerable, got health and education or UBI, food shortages, COVID. And then we can categorize out of these categories, right? We can say equals unique. We got all of these, and then we can count them, right? We can say count if, and the range is going to be here, but we want to do G8 to G. Criterion is going to be G2, and we can put a little $sign in front of there and say we want. And now we can see how many are each one getting, right? This is pretty cool. We can keep track. We can do a little bit of guerrilla or down-home journalism here, categorize these and see, did they actually reach what they wanted to, right? Did this Start Small LLC actually fund global COVID relief? Is it actually focused on girls' health and education UBI? We can see, right? We can add these categories here on our copy and tell. And we can see how much has been spent on each one. But you know what? I'm going to make this just a little bit better to see and read. So I'm going to do view, show. I want to get rid of these grid lines. And We only want the grid lines here. And Jack did exactly the thing that I have the biggest pet peeve of, but we're just going to add some that right there. So we have a little bit of something, but we got to delete. I mean, I just hate seeing these extra lines. It just gets me roiled up. All these extra, actually on the bottom, it's not that, we always want room to add more, especially for this. We want to add more grantees, right? But let's just delete all of the extra rows, just make it a little bit better. And look at this, it's still Arial. We can move these numbers to like something interesting like Consolis, and we can definitely move everything else to like something nice like Carla. Let's move these to Consolas, everything else to Carla. We love Carla, don't we? Make it the headers a little bit bigger, make it easier to read. And we want to take this color down a notch. So let's do 444. And we do want this one to be green as well, though. We've had it green before. Let's keep it green. But if that's the point, if the point is we want to see how much total dispersed, we can do more than just green, right? We can do something like a larger number, like a larger font size. That's pretty darn big. Can move that even to the top, right? Because we read left to right, top to bottom. Is that what we want to read most? But actually not really. If this is green, it sure does show up, but really the top most thing is the total value created. Let's look at that. Let's make sure that is the biggest. And let's just go to a 15, right? Total remaining is a big deal too. Let's make these a little bit smaller though, the headers, and let's move them over, right? There's an extra space here or something that looks unaligned, doesn't it? There's one interesting thing we can do to fix this, and I'm not sure if this is a fix, but I do think it does make it better, which now we have a lot of stuff frozen at the top. We want to see these first, right? And this is indicative of here, right? We have these three things we have, but we want to see more stats, more interesting information, right? So I'm going to create a new tab. I'm going to move that stuff over, and I'm going to see like, what is the impact? I'm going to call this impact, right? That's the first thing we want to know. What has been the impact? And so I'm going to move all these. I'm actually going to Command X and cut them and move them over. Make a little bit. I want to take all of these. We also want to see like this. Delete that. Want to get these counts. And so now we can create something cool, which is sections. We can see some summary data, and we can go, where did the money go? We can make these nice and big, right? Oh, let's make this all Carla. We like Carla, don't we? Can also view, show grid lines. Definitely want to make these. All right, let's make these headers a little bit bigger. Now we have some nice sections, right? Sections, we have data. We can see clearly, okay, here's the total value created, total dispersed. Let's make this a little bit nicer to read too. Let's want to get this like above. That's what I'm thinking. Get rid of that colon and make it a nice, right? Let's do one more. Let's get rid of that colon. I think it was extra space there. Let's get this 15, nice big number, but oh yeah, that's looking good. Oof, that's a big old number. Total value created. Oh my gosh, we can even give this a little space to breathe. Let's resize these rows so they're nice. And let's make them 55. Nice. This is looking good. We don't necessarily need this green anymore. The green sort of stands. What is the difference between... Oh, here's Consolis. This one... Oh, this one's bolded. That's... We don't need bold. We don't need... Billionaires might use bold, but we don't need to. We can just make that number really big. We can use that font size, right? Total dispersed. Nice. Let's highlight it, right? Let's use that highlighted green. Oof. That looks nice. Ooh, that's sweet. Let's go across the entire row, right? Let's stop everything we're doing and just make it nice. Let's make this header a little bit different, right? Let's make the background darker. Oof, nice. Now we might not need these extra rows in between. Oh, yeah, that looks sweet. Right? So now we have summary, some more details. We can make this a lot sweeter, right? Move this over, move maybe these to the center. Actually, not really. Those don't look very nice. I can move it like this. We can give these a little bit of color, right? We can also do alternating rows of color. We can do something like this. That's sweet looking, right? So now we have our total value created, total dispersed, total remaining. These are nice big numbers, right? Right off the bat, our summary. We can go into some more details here. We can see where that money went into the different categories. We can make this a little bit wider too. Nice. And now if we want to go deeper into it, we can look at our donations list, right? And we don't need to have all these rows here. We can delete them. And now we have more room to see the donations, to read about the donations. We can see that they're categorized here. If our categories are wrong, we can fix them. We have more details here. We have the categories that we can add right here if we ever want to recategorize them. Nice. Okay, I just gave it a little bit more breathing room. We might want to even these up as well. Let's even these resize selected rows. Maybe we'll do like, oh, went the other way. Resize selected rows 50, maybe even more. There we go. Nice. We put the little headers down, top headers down to the bottom, move them to the bottom. We move the numbers up to the top. And so we create a little bit of nice internal symmetry here, give a little bit more room to breathe than we did before. We have some more detail as well. We added this information, right? More details. Where did the money go? What categories? And we have all these donations that are nicely viewed here. We can make these a little bit easier to, now we have our reasons why here. We have a link. We can probably make this much smaller. Our Twitter, we can also make a little bit smaller. Probably our Twitter and link could be the same size. And our grantee, maybe a little bit larger. We might want to see this name so we can increase the size of it. Here's one weird thing. If we increase the size of this row, watch what happens. They're all at the top. Usually want your header down to the bottom. Nice, so give it a little bit of breathing room at the top there. And we can actually unbold that. We don't necessarily need that header bolded. And much easier to read, right? We got a nice big grantee name here, which is a higher font. Let's even make this a bit bigger, 15. Nice. Very easy to read, right? Who it's going to. If we want to read the why there, we want to make whatever we're looking at, we want to see bigger. One other way we can focus on this name, let's say we want to make this focus a lot easier to read. Well, our text color on our header, we can knock down a bunch, maybe not that much. We can also use the text color of everything else. And now, sure, we can still read it. It's not like it's so far off. Our background color is still the brightest white. We can make it a little bit gray, a little bit easier to read. If we ever have that bright black and the bright white, or the black is black and the white is white, it creates a lot of contrast and hurts our eyes a lot. Sometimes when we're reading this, we don't want as much contrast as humanly possible, right? So we decrease that contrast between the text and the background, and it's a little easier to read for a long time. But we also can use it so that we can really see who these grantees are, right? Now when we read this, oh my God, we can clearly see who the grantees are. That's a very important thing. We can also see the amount. If we ever want to read it, we can increase that text a little bit, right? You can go up one notch. There we go. See, right? It's not that hard to read, even though it is a little bit less black and the background is a little bit less white. We can also not even use a gray. We can use something like a yellow, or what I like to do, which is FB, F8, Facebook, Fate. And it's just a little bit of a paper color. And I love to have the text color be 444. And that makes it really nice. We can go a little bit lighter there, though. We don't need 444, maybe 888. That's great. 888 is great. Nice. So what we did is we went from this, which has just a few pieces of information and a lot of data, right, that is scrollable. We moved that data to a summary page, had some detail, added more details, more data, categorized everything, and made it a lot easier and nicer to read as we go through all of the grantees. So I think we just made a better sheet than a billionaire could make.